Extinction used to mean forever. Once a species vanished, that was the end. A chapter closed in the book of life. But now, with breakthroughs in genetics, cloning and biotechnology, that door might be creaking open again. Imagine walking through a forest and seeing a dodo bird strut by, or hearing a massive flock of passenger pigeons thunder across the sky. These aren't just dreams, they're scientific possibilities. In today's video, we're counting down the top 10 extinct animals that scientists want to bring back. From prehistoric giants to recently lost species, these animals could walk the earth again. And in some cases, they might do so sooner than you think. Let's take a look at what could become the future of the past. 10. Quagga. The quagga was one of nature's more unusual creations. A zebra with faded stripes on the front half of its body and a brown, horse-like rear. Native to South Africa, quaggas once roamed in vast herds, but European settlers hunted them aggressively for their meat and hides. By 1883, the last known quagga died in captivity. Unlike some other animals on this list, the quagga isn't being resurrected through cloning, but rather selective breeding. The Quagga project in South Africa is using plain zebras with similar genetics to backbreed offspring that resemble the quagga in both appearance and behavior. They've already made stunning progress. Animals born in recent generations have those signature faded stripes and temperaments matching historical descriptions. Is it truly a quagga? Maybe not genetically, but it's one of the first real steps humanity has taken to reverse an extinction. And that's remarkable. 9. Carolina parakeet. Bright green with a yellow head and vibrant orange face, the Carolina parakeet was once the only native parrot species in the US. These birds were highly social and lived in large flocks, filling forests from Florida to New York. Sadly, that made them easy targets. They were killed for feathers, for fun, and even because they fed on farmers' crops. By 1918, the last Carolina parakeet died in the Cincinnati Zoo. But today, with DNA preserved in museum specimens and a close genetic cousin in the sun conure, scientists see a path to bringing it back. If successful, reintroducing the Carolina parakeet could do more than restore a species. It could bring pollination and seed-dispersing behaviors back to forests that lost a key player in their ecosystem. 8. Dodo. If there's one extinct animal everyone knows, it's the dodo. This flightless bird lived on the island of Mauritius and was famously unafraid of humans, a trait that, unfortunately, led to its rapid extinction by the late 1600s. Sailors hunted them for food, and introduced rats and pigs ate their eggs. The dodo vanished within just a few decades of being discovered. But here's the twist. We have well-preserved dodo bones, skulls, and even DNA. And its closest living relative, the Nicobar pigeon, still exists today. Researchers, including the company Colossal Biosciences, are exploring the possibility of using gene editing to reinsert dodo genes into Nicobar pigeon embryos, effectively reverse engineering the bird. It's no longer just a funny footnote in history. The dodo might walk again. So, Gastric-Brooding Frog. Now this one sounds like science fiction. A frog that gives birth through its mouth. Discovered in Australia in the 1970s, the Gastric-Brooding Frog swallowed its fertilized eggs, stopped producing stomach acid, and let its babies grow inside. Then, it literally spit out live young. Just a decade after being discovered, it went extinct, possibly due to disease and habitat loss. Scientists from the University of New South Wales have since recovered preserved tissue and successfully created early-stage embryos using somatic cell nuclear transfer. If cloning is successful, the frog's return could be a massive win, not just for biodiversity, but for medicine. Imagine the applications for stomach ulcers or gastric regeneration inspired by this frog's physiology. 6. Aurochs. The aurochs was a massive, wild ancestor of modern cattle. Think of it as a prehistoric bull, towering nearly 6 feet tall at the shoulder with long, forward-curving horns. It shaped the landscapes of Europe and Asia for thousands of years before being hunted to extinction in the 1600s. Now, projects like the Tauros program are using DNA analysis and selective breeding of modern cattle to breed back animals that closely resemble the aurochs in both form and function. Their goal? To reintroduce aurochs-like cattle to European forests and grasslands to act as keystone grazers, managing vegetation, reducing wildfire risk, and helping native plants thrive once more. 5. Woolly rhinoceros. Closely related to modern rhinos, the woolly rhino once roamed the cold plains of Europe and Siberia alongside mammoths and saber-toothed cats. It had thick, shaggy fur, a massive horn, and adapted perfectly to Ice Age life. But climate shifts and human hunting led to its extinction around 10,000 years ago. With well-preserved remains found frozen in permafrost, including skin, fur, and even organs, scientists now have access to viable DNA. Its closest living relative, the Sumatran rhino, might one day act as a genetic surrogate for de-extinction. Reviving the woolly rhino would give researchers insights into climate adaptation, Ice Age ecosystems, and help preserve modern rhino genetics through hybrid science. And 4. Moa. New Zealand's moa were enormous flightless birds, some taller than 12 feet. With no native mammalian predators, they thrived, until humans arrived. Polynesian settlers hunted moas for food, and within 200 years every species was gone. Today, scientists have recovered high-quality DNA from moa bones and eggshells. With the ostrich and emu as potential surrogates, the idea of resurrecting a moa doesn't sound so far-fetched. Bringing them back could help restore native ecosystems, promote seed dispersal, and reignite ecological functions long dormant in New Zealand's wild. 3. Woolly mammoth. The most iconic candidate for de-extinction, the woolly mammoth. These shaggy giants coexisted with early humans and disappeared around 4,000 years ago. With frozen carcasses pulled from Siberian ice and their close relative, the Asian elephant, still alive today, the dream of bringing them back is not just alive, it's active. Harvard geneticist George Church and the company Colossal are editing Asian elephant embryos with mammoth genes for cold resistance, thick fur, and more. Why bring them back? Not just for awe, but for ecology. Mammoths could help restore Arctic grasslands, slow permafrost melt, and even combat climate change. Their return could redefine what conservation means in the 21st century. 2. Passenger pigeon. Once the most numerous bird on Earth, the passenger pigeon filled American skies in flocks of millions, so dense they could blot out the sun. But relentless hunting and deforestation led to their collapse. The last one, named Martha, died in a zoo in 1914. Now, scientists at Revive and Restore are using CRISPR and DNA from museum specimens to edit the genes of band-tailed pigeons and reintroduce traits from the passenger pigeon. Their goal is to one day re-establish wild flocks, not just to bring back a species, but to help forests regenerate the way they once did, with birds acting as natural seed spreaders. 1. Thylacine, Tasmanian tiger. The thylacine, or Tasmanian tiger, was a striped marsupial predator that once ruled Australia and Tasmania. It resembled a dog, but with a pouch like a kangaroo. Sadly, it was hunted into extinction by the 1930s. But unlike some other extinct animals, the thylacine still has extensive visual records, skeletons, and preserved DNA samples, and public fascination remains sky-high. In 2022, Australian scientists launched an ambitious effort to bring it back using CRISPR and stem cell technologies, aiming to implant embryos in close relatives like the numbat. The thylacine's return wouldn't just be a scientific milestone, it could help restore balance to Australia's ecosystems overrun by invasive predators. And perhaps more importantly, it would serve as a powerful symbol of second chances. Resurrecting extinct species sounds like a dream, or a sci-fi cautionary tale. But for scientists and conservationists around the world, it's becoming reality. De-extinction won't bring back the past perfectly, but it might help us build a better, more balanced future. Which of these animals would you want to see brought back? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more science, nature, and what-if countdowns. Thanks for watching. And remember, extinction may not be forever after all.